Welcome back to the official Thompson Resume Writing Company YouTube channel, where I share weekly tips and hints on how to update, refresh, and or prepare your resume and LinkedIn profile for your job search, along with some career advice, some job search tips, and some personal stories of my own. I am Tamika Thompson. I am the owner and resume writer at Thompson Resume Writing Company, and I specialize in transforming bland, lackluster resumes and LinkedIn profiles into powerful selling tools that help corporate mid-level, management, and executive professionals land interviews 2 times faster in their job search and ultimately help them earn more money over the course of their careers. Now, this video is going to be a career chats video. I have not done a career chats video in quite some time, and because it's been a while and it's been a long week in general, your girl has been going through it, we are going to make this video kind of like a wine and chat or a sip and chat type of video. And the topic we're discussing is how I applied to my current job, my dream job, 6 times and got rejected each and every single time until last year. So let's sip and chat all about it. So in a previous video that I shared to my channel, I talked about how last year in 2021 was when I finally, after 6 years of highs and lows and trying to pursue my career in marketing, received my dream job, which is my current role, as the omni-channel content strategy and customer experience manager at Walgreens. Now, I wouldn't say this title per se was like my ultimate dream job, but as far as a dream job is concerned, I knew I wanted to work for a large company, preferably one that was in like the Fortune 20 or the F20 or high up on the list, and I wanted to be in the marketing department, and I wanted to be earning 6 figures. The year was 2016, and I was at this point in my career where I was trying to figure out what it was that I wanted to do. If you guys don't know the story, I originally went to school for broadcasting. I wanted to be a television news reporter, and that was a path that I was going to take. However, once I got into the real world, I realized that the news industry was not for me, and so I was stuck in like account management, customer service, and I was over it. I was tired of being on the phones and I just felt like I was at my breaking point or nearing my breaking point. After being on a couple of projects at my job at the time, from doing like email campaigns at the time, text message campaigns were just starting to become a thing, and so I was kind of a part of a pilot project to start introducing text strategy as part of our marketing strategy or our outreach strategy. I realized that, hey, I really like this, and so I started doing some digging and realized that fell under marketing, and I was like, oh, okay, I want to go ahead and push forward with this. Now, my minor was in marketing for communications, but I wasn't thinking about that. I was like, no, I want to be on TV, I want to be a reporter, I want to tell the news, I want to keep people informed, I want to be on camera. That was the plan. So I really hadn't considered marketing up until that point. Once I decided that I wanted to do marketing, there was no stopping me, okay? I was ready. I was like, I'm gonna go full speed ahead, straight into this. I made a list of the companies that I would love to work for one day. I did some digging on the type of marketing positions that existed, and I figured out, like, based on my skill set and my education and my background and the things that I knew how to do, even though I didn't really have related marketing experience just yet. I was like, okay, this is what I want to do, this is where I want to be. And Walgreens in particular has always been a favorite brand of mine for personal reasons, and I'll share that for another video, but I've basically always wanted to work for the company. At the time, there was an entry-level position available at the company. I had 0 experience, but I knew I had my degree, and I knew I had, while it wasn't traditional experience as far as like a marketing title, I knew that the tasks and responsibilities in the job description, like I knew that I would be able to do them. So I put my resume together as I always do, whipped it up, cooked it up, chefed it up, got it together, and went ahead and applied to the position. I want to say less than 24 hours later, I had a fresh rejection email in my inbox. When I say I cried real tears, I cried because I just knew that I wanted it so bad. And really up until that point in my career, I really hadn't faced rejection like that. There was not a single job that I had applied for or interviewed for that I had not gotten. I've worked for Microsoft, I've worked for Walmart, I've worked for Comcast, and a couple of other well-known brands and established companies. And each and every single time I've interviewed for roles like that, I always got them. So that cut me deep, y'all. But I went ahead and took that L, like the G that I am, and kept going in my job search. Ended up landing an entry-level marketing role elsewhere, stayed there for about 8 months or so. And I also started getting certifications and taking like online courses to kind of have more marketing related content and skills and information to put on my resume. Because remember, up until that point, it was mainly all like account management, customer service, and things like that. So once I got that entry-level marketing experience, I was like, okay, I'm on my way. Fast forward, 8 months in that entry-level position, I ended up getting laid off, and after getting laid off, I still went back to the Walgreens website to see if there were any open positions. I'm like, well, I don't have that 1 to 3 years just yet, but I at least have like a marketing title, and I worked on some campaigns and some initiatives there. So I was like, okay, this should be enough to at least get my foot in the door. And it was. So I went ahead and applied the second time, another entry-level role, not the same one as before, and I didn't get rejected. I did get a first round interview, but that was it. I didn't make it past the first round of the interview, but the recruiter really liked me. She told me that I had a lot of potential and that the conversation went well, but they were, again, looking for somebody who had more relevant marketing experience. Now we're on to the third time. So the third time, the recruiter, the same recruiter who I had interviewed with before in that last go round, emailed me like a couple of months later, 4 or 5 months later. I was in another position at the time, another entry-level marketing role, still getting that experience to get ultimately where I wanted to be. And she was like, hey Tamika, this position just became available. Not sure if you're interested in it. I know that you're still new to marketing and you're still trying to figure out what you want to do and you're still getting experience, but check it out, and if you're interested, let me know. I'll go ahead and interview you for it, and we'll go ahead and get you over to the hiring manager. And I'm like, oh snap. So I take a look at the job description, and as I'm reading through it, I'm like, this may not be the best fit for me. It was really like paid media focused, so like doing advertising and commercials, and at the time I was really learning the very basics of marketing. When I say basics, I mean like demographic information, segmentation, email platforms, email campaigns. Social media at the time was starting to evolve into what it has become now. And I was like, I don't think this is the best fit for me, but I'm going to pretend like it is because I want to work at this company in any capacity, right? So give me whatever job. And I interviewed with the recruiter and it went well, but obviously I think she was pro Tamika because she knew that I really wanted to work for the company and I had great energy and enthusiasm. But when I spoke with the hiring manager, he could tell, obviously, from the answers to my questions that I wasn't very knowledgeable about the tasks and responsibilities that the role entailed. And he also mentioned that I didn't sound as passionate during the interview, which made a lot of sense because even to this day, after being in marketing for about 7-8 years, I really don't care for paid media. So I was really faking the funk, and he knew it, he could sense it, but he never got the sense that I was lying about anything. He just was like, I just don't think this is a good fit for you. The experience that you're getting now is not applicable. You don't really sound passionate about this. And we all know when it comes to taking positions, like, you don't have to love it, but you have to at least know what it is that you're doing and want to do well in that position. And it was kind of agreed upon that that position would not be for me. So I was crushed a third time. Because the first time I got rejected, the second time it was a no. This time I actually got a lead in, so I was like, oh, I got this in the bag. I just know I'm going to get this. And it still wasn't the right fit. Cried for the third time. Fast forward about 3 years, I had been laid off for the second time. My goodness. And so during my job search, before I accepted the offer for my former position, Of course, I went back to the website and looked at all the marketing positions and saw one or two that I was really interested in. So I went ahead and submitted my resume and applied. Now, the recruiter that I was working with before, she ended up going to a different company, so I didn't really have any allies, so to speak, on my side. So I just went ahead and dry applied and, you know, made sure my resume was keyword optimized, made sure it was targeted, tailored. I had my cover letter, like the whole nine, as per usual. I did get an interview, and not only did I get an interview, I made it all the way to the end of the interview process. In the end, they did go ahead and go with someone who they felt was more appropriate for the position. I did kind of do some digging and found the girl on LinkedIn, and I'm not gonna lie, like, she had the experience, she was more qualified than me. It was well deserved. I wasn't hating, I was hurt, but at least I was glad that I made it all the way to the end, because that let me know, okay, I'm on the right track. So I say this all the time with your career, with resumes, with your job search, like, take the experiences that you're having throughout as a way to gauge how you're doing overall. Like, if you're getting rejection emails immediately, like all the time, that may let you know that something is up with your resume, or maybe you don't have the experience. If you are going through the interview process, like a lot of interviews, and you're not getting any offers, or you're only making it past the first or the second step, that can let you know that something else may be up. So with this one, I was like, okay, this is a win. At least I made it through all 4 rounds of the interview process. And it wasn't about the fact that I wasn't experienced. It was just about the fact that somebody had more experience. So at that point, I had about 3 years of experience, so that solid entry-level experience that they were looking for. But even still, somebody came along and had 5 to 7 years of experience. And honestly, I'm not mad at it. I understand that in the job search, like on the other side of things, it's a business at the end of the day. And they have to make sure that they're choosing the right person to do exactly what it is that they need done. Now, fast forward 3 more years. So fast forward to last year, which was 2021. Quit my job, hated it. It was ridiculously toxic. It was so bad. I was depressed. All the things. So I just quit. I waited about 8 months to start applying to jobs after I quit my last job, just because I needed a career break to kind of reshift my focus, figure out what I wanted, and all of that good stuff. So went on the site, found 3 positions that were available that I just knew. Okay, I knew. I'm like, there's no way. I'm like, this is divine intervention. I was like, yo, now is my season. Now is my time. So I submitted my resume. I actually wrote a customized resume exclusively for each of those positions. So I wrote 3 different resumes and applied to each position. So there were 3 roles that I applied to this past go round. My current position, I applied to that one first, did land the interview. A week later, a week and a half later, after I submitted my resume, I found out that I would be getting a first round interview. With the other 2 positions, there was one other position that I did get an interview for. The 3rd position that I applied to, I did not get an interview for. I got rejected a week after the fact, which was fine, because I'm like, well, a week later, that means that somebody must have read it at least. It wasn't like an immediate rejection. So I was like, okay, I have 2 chances. I have 2 positions I'm interviewing for, which is ultimately 2 shots. I have to get at least one of these jobs. So with, again, my current position, I made it all the way through the interview process. So I think it was 5 rounds, made it all the way through. And like after each position, I was just like on pins and needles waiting, like, okay, checking my email like crazy. Like, y'all know how it is after you apply for a job or you complete an interview and you're like, I really want to know if I got this job. You just checking your email nonstop. You staying by the phone. You making you making sure your phone is not on vibrate. You got your volume all the way turned up. All of that good stuff. With the second position, I made it to, I think, the 2nd round of the interview process, and I did get rejected for it. So after that, it was just this one left. And I was like, okay, Tamika, we gotta get this job. And then finally, after a whole month and a week of waiting and driving myself crazy, and what made it worse is that I started the interview process right before the holidays. So my very first interview was about 2 or 3 weeks right before Thanksgiving, which made the process that much longer because people were out of the office and there were so many meetings. And after a full month of waiting and being paranoid and, negative self-talk, and then building yourself back up and going crazy and checking your email every 5 seconds, I got the call. The recruiter called me. Her name was Sharon. She was so nice. She told me I got that job, and when I say I screamed so loud, I think my neighbors was like, okay, is somebody up there trying to kill her or what? But I was so happy. I screamed, and then I immediately started crying because I'm just like, I knew this was the time. I just felt it in my spirit. Like, I'm a sensor type of person. I just sensed it. I just knew as soon as I applied, I'm like, I'm gonna get one of these jobs. It has to happen. The moral and the purpose of even sharing this story with you guys is this: be persistent. Do not give up. If there is anything that you want, whether it's a job that you want to go for, a company that you want to work for, be persistent, be relentless, and do not give up. If I had gave up maybe the first 2 or 3 times and just been like, man, forget this, forget Walgreens, I don't want to do this no more, I would have never gotten here. I am naturally a very tenacious person. I will push through anything. If it's something that I want, I am going to get it. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I am also somebody who does not take no for an answer. I always think of no as like, oh, okay, well, no, not right now. Okay, I'll be back. And that's really how I went about approaching that whole situation. I was like, no, this company is on my list. I am going to work here. And each time they gave me a rejection, no, sorry, we went with somebody else. Oh, you're not a good fit. Oh, you don't have enough experience. Da da da. I'm just like, okay, well, I'm going to go get experience. I'm going to go get da 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 da, and just kept applying. So I want you, if you're watching this video, if there's a job that you really want, or if there's a milestone or goal that you have in your career that you have not hit yet, and maybe you're losing hope or you're losing doubt, I want to tell you, do not give up. Keep going. Keep at it. Like, keep trying, keep studying for it, keep going for it, because it's through the rejection and through the hurdles and the challenges where you build that resilience and almost that ambition and that drive to even want it even more. I don't know if that's a toxic trait for me to see no as like a challenge. Well, no, I'm going to go ahead and turn that no into a yes. But that's almost the mindset and the mentality that you have to have. Also, I'm going to say, listen to your gut. So like I just said, like, I'm a sensor type of person. I'm really big on being able to like sense things and feel things, not to sound crazy, like not in a Miss Cleo type of way, but like I'm learning to be very into like what my intuition is telling me and what my gut is telling me. So I knew right then and there, I'm like, no, I'm going to get one of these jobs. Like, I feel like this is my time. Listen to your gut with you. And if your gut says, you know what, this is not the best fit for me, this is no longer the goal that I want to go for, then that's okay too. Feel free to shift and reprioritize however you see fit, whatever is the best decision for you. And something to mention as well, I know there are a lot of success stories out there, some that may seem too good to be true. Like, you have some people who will go from, barely making ends meet to then working at Apple and making like $450,000 a year as like the executive director of yada, yada, yada. That's all good and dandy, but understand that only you define what career success and what success in general looks like for you. For me, success looked like, working for this company in particular, earning the salary that I have, getting the title that I have, and being able to live like a certain lifestyle through my full-time job. Your version of career success may look completely different. Maybe it doesn't have a dollar amount. Maybe you don't particularly care too much about the company that you work for. Maybe you don't need a big fancy schmancy title, and that's totally okay. You decide ultimately what success looks like for you. Just know that whatever you consider to be success will happen when it's supposed to for you. And expect it to be a journey. Do not expect it to be something that comes easy. And if it does come easy, that's totally fine. Not everybody has to go through a bunch of crazy stuff to get the job that they deserve, to get the pay that they deserve. That was just my journey. That was my story. If it's not yours, that's fine. But definitely be prepared to put in the work to get what it is that you want. So if you want a high level role, a high level position, then be prepared to take the necessary steps, whatever that may be. Because if I can do it, I know that you can, okay? If I can cry all of those tears and still keep going and still get back up and go through all the things I went through, then you can absolutely, certainly achieve whatever career goal that you have set for you. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you made it to the end of this video. And feel free to comment with your own career stories in terms of landing your dream job, leaving a toxic job, whatever your career story is, go ahead and drop them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video or you enjoyed this story, go ahead and give me a like. Go ahead and hit the thumbs up button down below. Feel free to connect with me on social media for more content. You can follow me on Instagram @_Mika Thompson. You can connect with me on LinkedIn. My profile name is Tamika Thompson. I do have an email newsletter that goes out once a month that you can subscribe to. The link is in the description box below. And until our next career chats video, which I may do another wind down video, this was kind of fun. Or maybe next time I'll make it a live. I don't know. Until next time, bye you guys.